What's up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and this is episode 111 of Expert Mentors Live. Man, I'm super pumped for today's episode. We've got Mr. Henry Eisenstein on with us, and we're going to dive into, scaling through profit and not ego. I'm super excited to jump into this topic, and we're going to talk about scaling growth, team building the right way. And Henry, man, say what's up to the Honey Badger Nation.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for this, Johnny. This is awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Glad we were able to make it happen, and ready to dive in. You know, for man, the Honey Badger Nation's growing fast, right? You know, and so for all of for everybody in, man, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Again, my name is Henry Eisenstein. I'm from the beautiful state of New Jersey. We're just chatting up a little bit. I'm about 10 minutes from the Jersey Shore. I have no assimilation with anybody from that TV show, so don't think
that was my next question.
Been in the business a little over 5 years now, and I restarted my team from dead scratch about 2.5 years ago, from zero. Basically, we caught it as like February 1st of 2018, and right now, last year we did about 25 million, 88 units. This year we're on track to do about 35 million for 125.
Giddy up. Oh. Hey, Henry, we lost you. Froze up on us.
Unclear.
All right, hold on here. All right, we there?
I'm still here, man. I hear you loud and clear on my end.
Okay, cool. I lost you about where we had restarted the team, ended production. We're gonna shoot for about 125 this year. Is kind of where I had you froze up on us.
Yep, no worries.
All right, Henry. So we're on pace for 125. I mean, that's freaking incredible from a dead standstill to get rocking and rolling. I mean, I guess my question, 5 years in and we blow it up halfway. What was the reasoning for that?
And, I got out of the real estate space. I had the entrepreneurial bug, and I just didn't see enough success fast enough. Look, I'm 25 right now. So, a few years ago, I was a silly 22 needed to scratch. I feel like, I needed to go start something. I feel like I didn't know if real estate was the something, if that makes any sense. So I got out of the business, started a bunch of companies, and just realized that, my mentors were smacking me around saying, listen, if you want to a multitude of things all at the same time. So when my coach kind of said to me, he's like, listen, if you got to focus on one thing for a decade, and what would that be? I knew real estate was the thing. We're diving 100% all in since then.
Love it, man. Sometimes we need those coaches to kick us in the ass a little bit too, right? Keep us on track.
100%.
So,
thank God,
man. Go. Entrepreneurial bug the whole time. I know one of the things that you kind of shared with your story that I would love for you to talk about a little bit, if you don't mind, was really being able to connect with students and nationally and kind of the message, and man, where did that start, and kind of give a little background on that, man. I'm
sure.
I'm intrigued.
Well, to give some people here an idea, I was a terrible student growing up. I was a really smart kid, and I was not applying myself at all. I was, if you remember back in high school and middle school, I was the quiet kid in the back who had no friends. And I knew all the, I knew the answers to everything. I just didn't care about the homework. I didn't care about the tests. I didn't care about my grades. I just had no care in the world. I got bullied a lot for being, for a multitude of, silly things, that it really just came from a self-confidence side. And, when I finally started, finding myself a little bit, thankfully was able to overcome depression and suicidal thoughts and all these other crazy things that I know a lot of us go through. And I started connecting with some, thanks. And I started connecting with a lot of great people in my life who kind of saw more in me and believed in me more than I ever saw possible in myself. Right. And that meant so much to me because I really didn't see much in myself at all. Right.
What was that change for you? What was that moment?
And opportunity to show up and show up and show up. And I just kept, I'd show up early, I'd stay late, I never asked for more money. I was just appreciative that somebody cared about me and saw something in me. Okay.
Yeah, we're breaking up, and I apologize, guys. It could be this great North Dallas internet that we have, so it could be here on my end, throwing it off.
Do you want me to try to back out and go back in or something? Or?
Yeah, we might try that. Yeah, there's a lot of gold here. I want to make sure we can capture it all for everybody.
100%, man. 100%.
Let's do this. If we keep freezing up, then we may just restart. May just do a rejump.
We can do a rejump. I'm down. Do you have another Wi-Fi that we can connect to, like your cell phone?
Man, I'm to the best one.
You're clear as day on my end, my man.
I know, and you're freezing up on the struggle of good internet, man. It is a struggle, that is for sure. Let's do this. All right, let's give it a go. See kind of where we're at. You guys watching us here on Facebook, are we good? Are we freezing up? Give us that little feedback if we freeze up on you guys, and let us know who's freezing up. That might help. Cool. All right. So Henry, go. I want to hear the story again. Kind of where that moment I lost you, where things changed, right? Where where was that moment, right? To where it's like, shit, like we had that transition, right? From the battles and the thoughts and all of a sudden things started to turn around.
I think it actually, and I feel like I've had this conversation with a lot of people. For me specifically, it was when somebody kept giving me opportunity after opportunity, giving me showing belief in me more than I had in myself. Seeing more possible, I think, is just a really powerful thing for people. Working on it. Just this magic that starts happening, right? And you start just having this innate energy that just starts building around you. And I think that it grows and it grows and it grows, man. I don't know if that makes any sense. But.
Yeah. I caught a lot of that. We're still freezing up. So, man, I'm wondering if we could. Yeah. See if it's coming from on your end, because it's freezing up.
One sec. 1 second, brother.
You got it, man. We're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure this out. Maybe we can restart too. We can make it nice and easy.
Yeah, if you want to just jump out and jump back in, see if that'll refresh for you. All right, we'll see if we can't get to restart in here and get things rolling. Appreciate you guys hanging. I definitely want to be able to get all of Henry's story and what he's able to bring to all of us.
All right, I just restarted everything. Different internet connection. You let me know how we're rolling.
All right, so far so good. So
Cool.
We'll transition from there, right? I mean, people just pouring into you, and definitely that self-confidence really starts to take off.
Yep.
Where was the first like little entrepreneurial bug for you? Where did that come from? Where did it start?
So at that kid's party place that I worked for, right? This guy who I worked for, his name is Jim. I owe him so much, and he literally worked every day, all day, from the second he woke up to the second he knocked out on his pillow every day, right? And I just and I spent most of my time with him for years, basically running the stores, running around with him, just kind of seeing how he ran his life. And he owned multiple locations, very successful man. And I saw that in order to become successful, I started to right when I got into the real estate space, it was
brother, we're losing you again. You're freezing up on us.
I feel like, it can't be my connection. I can go to a third connection, maybe.
Man, I feel you. I feel you. I know exactly the frustration with the internet. While Henry's figuring this out, we may reconvene and maybe a little different time and come at you guys just to I don't want to lose the impact of Henry's story and what he's been able to accomplish, especially at such a young age.
So I'm on a third Wi-Fi. You let me know.
All right, we'll try to hang in here as much as we can.
I got backups for my backups.
There you go. Man, that resonates so much, right? When you've got somebody that not only kind of setting the standard, modeling that behavior, but just really pouring into you, man. I same way. I had my first two bosses that I worked for were amazing, right? And owe them so much as well, being able to really pour in and into me as well. So it's huge. It's huge to have that. So I kind of lost that in there with the freeze up, but where did, kind of getting into real estate, where the heck did that come from?
So I was working for this guy, Jim, for a while. And my one friend who we had a mutual friend who was in real estate, who was 21. Okay. And my friend comes to me and he goes, I got this friend of mine who's 21 years old and he's making a killing in the business. And he asked me to get my license with him. And so, it basically kind of just fell into my lap. My family's been investing in real estate for a long time. And, so I knew and understood what real estate was about to some extent, but it's all commercial real estate. So it's not, not residential.
Gotcha.
But I was watching $1 Million Listing New York. And when I first got into the real estate business, man, I'm working with foreclosures. I was basically helping an REO manager. So it was nothing like I thought it was going to be. And that's sort of why I got out of the business, because I was so kind of turned off with what my assumption of real estate could be with what I was doing.
Man, yeah, that foreclosures will definitely drive you out of the business for sure.
Completely different world, man. Completely different world. But, I didn't know any better. So, I was sort of like, this is what real estate is, taking people's houses for them. I'm like, this is not what I want to be a part of.
Nope. I didn't sign up for this. And
Exactly.
So you got out, just dove into a bunch of different things, and then working. So were you working with a coach in real estate, or?
So I had a Tom Ferry coach about a year in,
Okay.
because I knew I needed a mentor like I had previously because it worked out so well. So I got a Tom Ferry coach. I really enjoyed it. I was even coached by Bill Pipes at times. Incredible guy. He was basically Tom Ferry's right-hand man. Very fortunate. And then again, I ended up getting into Tony Robbins content. I went to a bunch of Tony Robbins events, and I ended up buying a Tony Robbins business coach.
Nice.
And, that Tony Robbins business coach I owe a lot, because he was the one who basically woke me up. And he's like, listen, I know you have aspirations to be a billionaire, and I'm telling you, having 5 companies at the same time at your age is not the right way to go.
That's awesome.
So,
man, what great advice, to be able to hear that. The powerful thing is that you listened. Well,
thank God I did. And by the way, I say it all the time now to my mentors now. It's like, sometimes it's not the message that's wrong. It's the messenger. I just didn't, so it's like with my parents, if they said anything, back in the day, I wouldn't hear it the right way unless my mentor said it to me,
Right.
So thankfully it was just the right person with the right message at the right time, and things just clicked, and the next morning after I had that conversation with him, I was at my real estate office, and funny enough, out of 300 agents, and I had gotten out of the business like October, November, early November. I ended up coming in like late January, and they were doing all the awards for last year. And I got 4 of the 5 awards for like most listings taken, most volume, most closed sales, all this other stuff. And I wasn't even there for the last couple months, and I felt like it was crazy how the next day that I was there, they gave out these awards. And I felt like it was just a sign from God or something. It was just like, you are meant to be here,
Yes.
Don't leave it again.
So was that like, hey, that was the sign, hey, it's all in, let's get after it. And that's where kind of starting from scratch.
After that combo with my coach, I was like, listen, something just told me, I was like, listen, I got to burn all my ships. I was like, there is no plan B, there is no plan C or anything going forward. It is just real estate. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to be the greatest that I can possibly be, or I'm going to die trying.
So what were those first steps, for you starting from scratch, right? What was the day-to-day activities? What was it that got the momentum rolling?
So anybody who knew me growing up in the business, I was known as the young kid who never got off a Mojo dialer. For 10 hours a day, I was a Mojo dialer, expireds, cancels, for sale by owners, because I didn't know any better, but I knew how to dial, and I knew my scripts very well. And I knew that I was not super experienced, in the short few years that I was in the business. I sold in the first 2-3 years, it was like 40, 50 houses. So it wasn't nothing, but, again, I was still young, and I knew that if I got enough opportunities, I'd get my fair share. Right. So I just kept dialing, and eventually I started connecting with people who really taught me the right way of building a substantial business. I started recruiting like crazy, and all these young kids who were getting in the business saw me get all these awards. So I started attracting some young talent, and all of a sudden a year later I had, 5-6 agents working with me, and 3 support staff. And it was like, I didn't even understand my numbers. I just knew we were doing business, and it was like, it was all this craziness, and things just kind of took off, first year, I think we did about 8.5 million. Following year last year was 25 million. This year again will be like 35, 38 million, somewhere in there. But it's crazy. It's just, it exploded really quickly, and I had to adjust very, very fast. Thankfully I had some mentors in my life, but again, we'll talk about it. There was a lot of mistakes made that cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, let's dive into those, man. I'd love to hear, right? What are those lessons learned that we can share and maybe help a few, fellow honey badgers kind of maybe avoid some of those 2x4s?
Sure. So, first and foremost, growth needs to be done through profit first. And I did not understand what profit meant. Because it's like when you look at a P&L, and I use QuickBooks now, kind of makes my life pretty easy. And I have my accountant my accountant does all my bookkeeping. Right. So I look at it like so many people grow to grow instead of grow strategically through profit. And there's even times like in this moment right now, I'm looking for now another executive assistant and a salaried showing assistant, right? But so many people would have made this hire not only already, but maybe a few months ago when they started to see themselves get a little bit busy. And I realized, and I told myself, I was like, I need to get to a few dollar markers in my bank account before I start making these hires. Like, I will kill myself before I make this hire because I don't want to do it before I have the money in my bank account, right? And don't get me wrong, we're extremely profitable right now. We're closing, 12 to 15 units a month for about, 3.5 to 4.5 million a month right now.
Yeah.
And my bills are very low. I have very low overhead, and I've been able to learn through my mistakes through that. But again, I'm not in any rush to hire these people because number one, I want them to be the right people, but also like I know that my money needs to work for me. Whether that's, I don't want to just have it sitting in a bank account anyways. All my money is sent to my fund partners, for the real estate fund that we're building. But it's just like, at the same time, I feel like I would have made this hire just because like, oh, I know I have the money.
Right.
And that's what I did last year. We started doing a lot of business, and like, if someone came to me and they wanted a job, I just said, screw it. Yeah, I'll find a way to hire you. And we brought them on board and we hired them. And all of a sudden we went from, 2 units a month to 6 units a month to 10 units a month. And it's just like, the money started growing, but then you start looking, for those of you who do not understand a P&L, like a lot of people as real estate agents treat our business like a hobby, right? Mm-hmm. All the money goes into our personal account and then we pay all of our bills and then we think we make a lot of money, but you really don't make anything, right? That's most realtors. I mean, because we don't run it as a business, now it's like you have a separate business account, an LLC that gets paid every month. You have expenses that are going to be, that are detailed, and you're going to go through each bill and figure out how you can cut out certain bills every single month that you can save some money. Do you really need to be spending that much money on marketing and advertising and salaries and all these other things and rent? Can you renegotiate some of your marketing costs or other things? And you look at how much money you made, how much money you spend, and then the leftover is your profit. And then guess what? On your profit, you got to pay some magical thing named taxes that I didn't understand. So even if your net profit is 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, and it doesn't matter because you have to understand how to pay the taxes on that money. That's right.
Yep.
So it's a mix of all that. I think that a lot of people need to take a step back and realize that unless you are doing 4 to 6 units a month or more, you should not have an assistant, right? Your number should be somewhere between 3 and 5 or 6 units or so, depending on your area and how much money you're making on your commission checks. But 3 to 6 units, you need to be somewhat at like a 15,000 net profit before you even hire your first assistant, right? Because you're just not making enough money for that to make any sense. Once you hire your first assistant, that should immediately double your profit, right? And if you're not going from somewhere between 10 and 15,000 net profit to somewhere between 20 and 30,000 net profit with one assistant, you have the wrong assistant, right? And then your next hire should add another $10,000 or $20,000 a month in profit, right? This is exactly what I've done. I've had to rebuild through COVID, and this is the models that I've been following, because before, again, I was hiring to hire, and you'd have an $80,000 or $100,000 gross month on commissions, and you think you're killing the game. But at the same time, when you're paying, if you have $80,000 coming in, you pay $30,000 in commissions to the agents who brought the leads, because you're paying them 50-50 or whatever your splits are, and then you have a $30,000 to $35,000 a month in overhead, and you're walking away with $10,000 to $15,000 in net profit before taxes on 80 grand. I don't know why you need such a big team. You might as well, make 25 grand a month with one assistant. Yeah,
make more money, right?
Make more money.
That's great advice. Do you follow like the profit first model? Is there any of the models you follow, or you just kind of keep it,
No,
hey?
So there's a multitude of companies and organizations that all think they have the right model, and I think everybody's different. I think your goals and everything have to be aligned with whatever you're trying to build.
Yep.
But I don't know. I kind of look at the rule of like 10. You can call it the rule of 10,000. By yourself, if you're not netting more than 10,000 a month, net profit after expenses, right? You don't need an assistant, right? If you can do that consistently for a couple months, you should hire an assistant, and you should easily be able to get to 20,000 net profit minimum, right? Another assistant should get you to 30,000 net profit. And if that is not the case, like you just don't need a big team.
Right.
Right? Because everyone's just chasing revenue. It doesn't make any sense. I've chased
vanity, right? It's a vanity number, man. And it's that gross profit number, and then it's profit, right? I mean, it's the number one, the only rule in business, right? I mean, that's the only.
But realtors don't see that. They just see listings and, and transactions and units and volume, and they want to have 100 million in volume. And it's just like, I know people who have 100 million in volume where I'll probably net the same amount of money as them this year. And it's like, why? Because they have 30 agents and they're only doing 100 million. I'm like, each agent's doing $1.5 million a year, 2 million a year. Like, it's not a business.
Vampire time, man. It's it can be a daycare center too, right? So you got to be really, really careful through there. So, with you hitting the dialer and prospecting muscle, I mean, you can survive any condition of any market. You can go to any market when you have that muscle.
Sure.
Is that the culture when you've got agents? If you're bringing an agent in, I mean, hey, this is how we do it around here. Is that kind of the culture?
Here's the beauty, right? Here's the beauty. I was training these people so well, and they were making so many appointments within the first month, 2 or 3, that they would look at how much money I'm making versus how much money they're making at the end of the day, and they got confused, right? And I don't blame them for having a little bit of an energy and excitement about the business. Right. But at the same time, what it's taught me is if I can train the right person as a salaried showing assistant to do that, who has different goals and different ambitions and is okay with the salary, I can be a lot more profitable. Right. Mm-hmm. And build a lot better of a service-based business and allow me to do with the prospecting. Right. I don't need all these agents. And the cool thing with EXP, man, is when I can recruit 10 times more people that I had before and coach them and train them to be zillionaires or whatever their mindsets are to be, right? And I don't have to be held accountable to their success or their income, right? So now I give all my information away for free. Here are the scripts I use. Here are the the softwares I buy, the lists I buy or whatever. Do your thing. I don't care, right? I'm going to train these people up the best I possibly can. And in my business, to keep me more profitable than ever, I'm going to have salaried assistants. That's it. I don't want commission-based people anymore.
There you go.
I'd rather recruit them to the company and go, hey, this is what I do. Go run with it.
And EXP gives you that opportunity, man. It really does, right? Because I just know us up through the years and the young kids in the market, people gravitate to you, right? So, you want to help them, right? And so without EXP, I feel like
a lot of people miss when you're a brand new agent. I think a lot of people misunderstand that your first 1 to 2 or 3 years in any business, whether you're an agent, you do insurance or mortgages, or you're an entrepreneur and you have your own company, the first couple of years are for learning only. Right? Learn. You don't understand it. It's like go learn and work underneath somebody and just understand everything from A to Z of how to build a business. And then year 2, 3, 4, or 5, as if you're an agent on a team, that's when you make a decision. When you have 50 or 100 in the bank and you have no debt and everything's paid off and you understand the processes. If you have ambitions to go bigger, then you go bigger. You don't start bigger when you don't know anything.
Right. You got to get the foundation, man, or it's just you're building the house on sand. When you're with your salaried assistants, how are you going to structure compensation?
So it depends on their roles. So I mean, like for showing assistants, I feel like, and again, every ambition is different and everybody's experience levels are different, but something between $15 and $20 an hour, depending. Look, I'm in New Jersey. We have a pretty high standard of living, right? But $15 to $20 an hour plus maybe, some sort of bonus structure per transaction, right? I mean, right now we pay a $500 to a $750 per transaction fee that they close. But again, realize that, for our showing assistants, I'm giving them all the leads. They're not dialing expireds. They're not dialing cold call. They're not cold calling. These are layup transactions that are ready to rock and roll. And, again, my showing assistants can do eight units a month times $500 or $750. It's another $4,000 or $5,000 plus their $20 an hour. again, you're making 6,000-7,000 a month as a showing assistant. That's pretty great for somebody who, a younger individual in the business. It's just people get, crazy when they start looking at numbers,
Yeah, I mean, and look exactly what they do, right? You look at the, where their job starts and where it stops. That's crazy. What they're getting compensated for, right? In that amount of time. And so, like, you're doing all the heavy lifting, you're doing all the hard work, you're acquiring the client. They're just, they're doing the easy. Yeah, they're doing the easiest part of it all.
When people realize in this organization can realize when you want to build a team, and you are not building through profit first, and you are building straight through ego or numbers just based on volume counts, you're looking at life so like you're trying to make your future so hard for yourself for no reason. Like you are putting so much more stress in your life for no gain. There's no gain because it's like I used to have 11 to 12 people working for me.
Yeah.
Right. And, and making 10 to 15, 20,000 a month. And I thought it was fantastic, right? Because I wasn't understanding it. And to make net profit 2 or 3 or 4 times that with a fourth of the staff, right? And I don't have the stress of management and all these other things that come with it. I don't need to work too hard to make decent money. And then you just invest the rest. We all know as real estate agents, the best way to be rich and wealthy is to buy the real estate we help investors buy, right?
100%.
So many of us don't do it.
It's
right?
Man, you really nailed it with the model, right? You know your goal. You've got the model structured. I'm not bringing on agents, but I'll sponsor you and I'll train you and I'll give you everything. I'll pour everything 100%. Into you, and you can serve them better that way, honestly, than them being 100%. On your team. 100%, exactly. Right? 100%. Yep. And then you're where you need to be living, you're making enough money, and then you don't need to take any more than that, right? Whatever's left, like you said, invest.
It's about how you spend the money that you're making now. I don't need to do a heck of a lot of business. I just need to spend my money right now.
What was the eye opener? Really, what was the eye opener for you that was like, holy shit, I was doing this all wrong. Like, what was that? When was that moment? What was that lesson?
Here's the crazy thing, because I've been asked this question a lot, and I do a lot of mentoring. A lot of people ask like that moment. I'm telling you, I've had so many micro moments where I've spent money on wrong investments and they went south. And all the money that I had saved, like, I bought life insurance at the wrong time for way too much money, and I ended up, losing a ton of money on it. I was pitched a crazy idea of, how much I should buy and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I lost like $30,000. There has been other stock opportunities and, I made a lot of poor investments in the past. Right. And it's like those small little things taught me that realizing that making the money through real estate is really not the hard part. Right. Like we have enough mentors in this group and people that we can call to teach us how to make decent money in this business. Right?
100%.
Right? Without a doubt. However, it's when you spend the money the incorrect way, you make it so much harder on yourself than it has to be. Right? Whether that's building the team incorrectly and crazy payrolls or crazy marketing tactics or all these other things, or building a team of agents that are all commission-based way too high than they need to be, or these investment strategies of what these other people are pitching you that they don't even buy themselves. Like all these little things. You could have a nice little team that does 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 million a month, right? Whatever that is, the goal is for you. Have a high profit margin and just spend your money correctly on the correct investments. Long term, you're going to win all day long with the least amount of stress. How is that a bad life?
I love that. And you're looking at it long term. I mean, you've got the right, the right focus, the right outlook, right? And you're really starting to settle in on the model. You got the goal, you're settling in on the model. And
my mentors really had to wake me up because I had the ambitions of having like a huge team, a 500-person team, and all these agents, and getting a little bit on everybody. And I was like, I saw this huge vision for myself, right? And then here's the craziest thing: I think that a lot of us have these huge visions that are important, and that we, like whatever your dreams are, I'm fully supportive of it. But just realize that it doesn't mean that you have to give up on the vision. It just might mean that the way the vision takes place is a little bit different. It's a little bit of an adjustment, right? And the crazy part is that I vision myself with a team of 500 agents all making a crazy amount of money. You know what's crazy? EXP allows me to do the same exact thing with no management, with no overhead, with no stress, right? So I can still attach myself to that dream and that vision like I've always wanted to have, right? But without the stress, without the BS, without all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, wow, I wish this was here. Like I wish I heard about EXP so much longer ago. Like it would have been amazing.
Our vision with the brokerage, we were going partner route, and our vision within 10 years was to have 2,000 partners. When we finally looked at EXP, we accomplished 2,000 partners in like 24 months, right?
Insane?
It's insane, right? So, but
it's amazing.
You nailed the point, right? It's still the vision, but what are all the ways to get there?
100%.
Right? What are all the ways, and what is the most profitable way? Not only profit in your bank, but the profit in your,
less stress
in your sanity. You know what I mean?
100%.
I hear like a team of 500, a brokerage of 500 agents, like that's not something I would want to sign up for. That's painful.
And it's crazy because, like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, look, I'm 25 years old and have these crazy big ambitions. We all have these goals and dreams and everything. And it's just like so many people get wrapped up that it has to be done this way, right? And I feel like it's like you are your biggest enemy when you're doing it that way. Like, okay, if you're accomplishing the same thing anyways of the hypothetical lifestyle, which is really what we're all chasing, the fulfillment and lifestyle of our dreams that we are chasing, why does it have to, if I can show you a cheaper, faster, less stress way of achieving it, what do you care?
Right.
Right?
It's just math.
Yeah, it's just math, man. That's it.
It's just math. So we were cutting out a little bit earlier in the beginning, but I want to kind of hear the story with you connecting with the kiddos and speaking to students and stuff a little bit.
Sure.
And talk to me a little bit about that.
I got introduced to a couple of professors through a friend of mine that have business classes at different colleges all around the country. And I've been speaking via Zoom through COVID, but it's amazing. And it's just and by no means, do I think I'm anything ridiculous at this age, but, just the things that I've been able to learn and share my experiences with these young kids. It's like, most of my friends are 40, so I don't really get along with people who are really my age so much, but
I was with you, brother. Same thing.
I grew up, same here. Right. So it's just like, I grew up really, really fast. And to be able to like talk to these students and really be able to share some of my experiences so that they just don't have as tough of a time as I did. I feel like I've just been really blessed with amazing mentors in my life. And a lot of them were through YouTube, like people like Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins and all these other people, thankfully I've been able to meet them.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I want to emphasize, I know we're live in the group, but people will come back and rewatch this. And I want to emphasize that point. Your mentors don't have to be somebody that you even know, right? No, you can connect from afar. So
Jim Rohn, sadly, passed away, but I've learned so much from Jim because I've studied his information that he's been passing on through generations and generations. And it's like, it's crazy, and it's like, I'm so grateful for these people in the past who have given this information for free, where it's like, look, there's so much knowledge out there for free. If you go on YouTube or Google, it's all there. And so many people go like, well, I don't know what to do. Have you tried Google yet? Have you tried YouTube? Probably, just like, come on. I just have not given myself the ability to make an excuse, and these mentors have been such an incredible blessing in my life. And I know how valuable, just like us connecting right now, right, and how much value we can bring to just even one person who hears this at the right time, the right message for the right person, right? And they go off and build an incredible business and employ people and create, an incredible life for themselves and for their families and everybody connected to them. That's the magic, right? And it's just like, I feel like I'm so blessed to even be in this position that I'm in now. And I know, like I said, I'm nothing crazy right now, but I know where I'm going, right? And just the fact of being able to help some young entrepreneurs who are with me. I got my videographer with me right now, and who is actually a friend of another younger guy who I've been mentoring for a long time with his business. And it's just amazing to see, like, hey, Henry, I made my first $5,000 month, my first $10,000 month.
And that feels good, man.
It's so amazing, man.
It is,
it's so cool.
It really is, man. I applaud you, brother, man. You've got, definitely, where the way you're thinking about things, the way you're behaving is pretty awesome, for especially, somebody at your age, right?
Thank you, man. But it's crazy because, like, you have to, like, it's funny because I hear that a lot, but it's like, I feel like I've been in this game for like 20 years. You know what I mean?
It's pretty quick.
But it's like Elon Musk says, when I'm working 100 hours a week, I'm doing 2.5 times the amount that they can in a year, so it's like every year that they're working, I'm working 2.5 years,
Yeah. And I think another, thing that I'm hearing is, crashing into the wall, learning fast, right? It's that failing forward, right? We're failing, we're learning, we're adjusting, we're embracing.
We were just doing video content before for social media for me. And one thing I talked about was how I get a lot of phone calls from a lot of younger individuals who say like, I'm afraid to fail with this. I'm afraid of making mistakes and all this, right? Those experience, like I talked to them, I was like, listen, get rid of the word failure. Failure is equal to quitting, right? Quitting and failure are the same thing. So if you don't quit, you never will fail, right? Everything that you stumble on and challenges you come into your life are just learning experiences of what did not work. You're just going to shift and adapt and change, and you're going to find a way to make it work, right? And so many of us look at like, it didn't work out. Like they didn't list with me, I failed. Or, the hire that I had didn't work out and I'm a failure. And all these other little things. Like if you never quit, if you never give up, you can't fail.
Yeah. Right? We got a little saying, if money will fix your problems, you don't have problems.
100%.
And it's just understanding, taking every, what you perceived failure and just it's the meaning you give it. What's the lesson here?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yep. What's the lesson here? What am I learning? And apply it and move forward the best you can.
Yeah, like you like if anybody who's like, it's so crazy because I feel like, like once you've been really working for a while and building a really good business, you like I obsess with learning experiences and failure and challenge and all this kind of stuff because you don't learn so much through success.
Right.
You learn I love when I'm like, wow, it didn't work out at all. Like, okay, good, I'm not going to do that again. Smart. But I've only been able to grow so fast because I fail so quick, quote unquote. I learn so quick and I adapt and I move and I just keep moving forward as fast as I possibly can. Like, oh, that didn't work. Try this. Oh, that didn't work. Try that. And just keep moving.
Yeah, that's a great lesson.
I used to beat myself up about it, but then you start realizing like the more time I spend dwelling is the less time I spend progressing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it doesn't serve you, right? You're not moving forward. What so for you right now, I love you've got the model dialed in. Like what is kind of where you want to be target wise? Hey, I'm trying to, hey, I want to do 7-8 units or whatever it is a month. That'll hit my profit and income targets. And then I need to be recruiting X number of agents per month. Do you kind of have some set targets that you're
really the goal is to get to a really simplistic 25 units or so a month, and I want to build the most profitable version of that, where my goal has been about, it was originally $1 million, then I said it was about $2 million a year net income, right? So I want to get to about as close to about $2 million a year net income, because on $2 million is about $167,000 a month. And I know that I'll hit, like, if I can save that money the right way, and the reason why I say 2 million is because I want to be able to, after taxes, take home a little over $1 million.
Right.
So that's really the reason why I'm shooting for 2. And I kind of ran the numbers at about 25 units is pretty sustainable to do that. And at that point, I just want to have the most profitable, best service-based business, period, with the most amount of referrals, the easiest business I can possibly build around that with the least amount of headache. And then just spend as much time as I possibly can investing that money into real estate and recruiting my ass off with EXP. That's it. I know that if I can just build that model out, there's not a lot that I have to do for the next following years before I can say I'm done selling real estate. Thank you.
That's right.
That's really it, man. Keep it really simple.
Yep. You keep head down. You keep that plan and keep executing, without a doubt. I mean, I've seen change lives in just the 3 years that we've been here. I mean, it's amazing. It really is.
This organization allows for so much opportunity that so many people don't like. It's that intangible opportunity, right? And it's just such an amazing thing. And it's like so crazy because it's like right before I switched over, I was really looking at the numbers. I was like, I almost felt silly being where I was. I was just like, I got to switch over already. This is crazy. I'm holding myself back, Yeah. But man, I'm so grateful to be aligned with you guys, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. And we got a question in here, Henry. If you want to kind of share, if you don't mind, share the salary model. Like, how are you envisioning to get to 25 units with the salary model?
Okay, so right now we're doing about 15 units a month in closings. So that's our average price point is 3.25. So I'm just I have my handy dandy calculator with me right now.
That's right.
So hold on. Right. So just to kind of give you all some reference. Our average commission is about 2% out here, just because everyone's doing these discounted rates. So it's come to about 2%. It's about 100,000 gross a month, and right now I'm at probably around 60% margin on profit right now. And that being said, I want to stay as close to that 60% margin as possible. So when I bring on an executive assistant that'll probably start somewhere between $15 and $18 an hour, especially for my area, I want to make sure that $15 to $18 an hour, which is basically what, 30, 35,000 a year, I should be able to take an additional net profit of another something between $20 and $30,000 more a month. And I'll explain, because in our area, average commission checks are about $6,000, right? So on a $6,000 gross commission check, like I should be able to have another probably 2 extra a week from this personal assistant, because they will take all of the stuff that's not making me money off my plate, so I can spend that many more hours dialing the phone and setting up appointments.
Time reallocation.
100%. So that being said, I'm taking, like, my dollar per hour is about $200 an hour right now, just shy of it, 180, 200 an hour. If I could spend $15 to $18 an hour to sub that out, I'm going to buy back another hour, 2 or 3 every day for phone calls. 100%. So it's like, if I can do another 2 closings a week based on 1 assistant, I mean, I'm going to do that all day long. But it's got to be the right person to take all that off my plate.
Yeah, it's got to be the right person. And also, I think, you get it, right? You get the time reallocation. Where a lot of people get tripped up is that they don't reallocate that time, right, to dollar producing activities. They just screw off, or Look, and sometimes it's like, and look, it is sometimes difficult to do that when you're making good money. Sometimes you want to enjoy, and I understand, and you have to stay disciplined, right? It's something you really, really have to do, right? And the same thing with my salaried showing assistant, a 15, 18 hour, $20 an hour job at most, plus $500 to $750 per transaction. Based on that model, I should be able to do an additional 1 to 2 a week. So between those two, that should be 3 to 4 extra deals a week, right, that I'm doing, which is where my 25 comes into place, because by myself and 2 assistants right now and 1 buyer's agent who's been with me since the beginning, who I love like my brother, we've been doing 15 closings a month. There you go.
So again, if I can get to another 10 to 12 or 15 extra on 2 hires, that's a no-brainer.
Right.
And I don't want to get much bigger. Maybe I hire 1 extra assistant just to keep our systems in the back end tight, and transaction coordination and listing assistant, and that's it. I don't want to get much bigger than that, because I know that once you start getting to a certain point, you're in a management game, not so much a real estate game. I don't want that.
No, you know what you want, right? You're clear on it, and you're going to run with that model. And one of the things that you said, when we were earlier on in the conversation was really the level of service and experience that you're giving your clients, right? How important that is. And focused on word of mouth referral type of business, like that's the most profitable type of business, right? Exactly. You're not dumping.
It's the funniest thing, right? And for those of you listening, this was another little hack that I have for Zillow, right? I hate Zillow leads. I hate them. I absolutely don't. I don't like paying for them. I don't see the purpose in paying for them. I know people who spend 10, 20, 30,000 a month or more, right? For me, I've realized that, because I'm a lot of referrals, what you want to do for me, and this is just my experience, what I've done is that I found zip codes in my area that I can pay the least amount of money possible. I think I spend maybe $300 a month, not even, okay? And I literally told Zillow, because she's trying to sell me on more. I'm like, I don't want any more. I don't want any of your leads, right? I just want to be shown as the listing agent on my own listings. And I get enough sign calls through Zillow that's like 70 times the amount of leads that they're willing to give me. So it pays off 1,000-fold to just pay for Zillow, but do the least amount of money possible. Because this way you're the premier agent on all your listings and all your calls go to you. It is unprecedented how many leads you will get this way for $300 a month.
We did the same thing. It's so damn funny.
Right?
We wouldn't spend no money on it.
I don't need your Zillow leads.
Nope.
Right?
I love it, man. Well, man, I know it was a rough start getting going. I think we got it dialed in. Good stuff, man. I really appreciate you making the time, jumping tons of value. Folks want to connect with you, kind of pick your brain a little bit. What's the best way to do that?
Look, I say it every time, like, I'm a super open book with everything. You can either follow me at Henry Eisenstein on every bit of social media that you can possibly find, or my cell phone. Just call me, text me, 908-216-6532.
Perfect. So, man, we'll throw that in there. We'll get this replay up and out. And Henry, man, I appreciate you jumping in, adding value, being a true expert mentor. And if there's anything we can do for you, man, same, reach out.
Hey, right back at you, man. Right back at you. I'm just here to provide some value, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate you. And we'll talk soon.
Later.